I have the cutest way to keep track of your pins, and it's made with love. Stick around for a few minutes and I'll show you how simple it is. Hi everyone, I'm Paula. Do you have a masterpiece in mind that you'd like to create? I hope that any inspiration and guidance that I show you today will help you along the way. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button below. Today, I want to show you the bonus project that I was talking about at the end of the last video. Now, I have a question for you. Did any of your grandmothers ever teach you to put your pins in your shirt or your sleeve or something when you're sewing? If you need a place to stick them, you just put them in your shirt. Well, mine did. And that ended up being a little bit of an issue later on in life. I would find that I would accidentally forget that I had those pins in my shirt and I'd throw them in the laundry, and guess what? I'd end up washing them. What a mess. So I came up with a great little idea of making this little pin keeper. Now, last video's project was using the Mama's Little Hearts quilt block pattern, but at the end of that quilt block pattern, you're going to notice the very last page is a bonus pattern to make the Mama's Little Hearts pin keeper. I think you're going to love this project. It's a great gift. It's wonderful for craft fairs. You can make a ton of them in no time and sell them lickety split. I think you're really going to love this project. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go over the materials that you're going to need for this project. First of all, you're going to need a pattern, and it's the last page of the Mama's Little Hearts quilt block pattern. You'll find that link down in the description below for my Ko-fi shop. You'll need a cracker box, some kind of a cereal box, something that is not corrugated, that is pretty stiff cardboard, or some of your clear plastic chopping mats that you can get at the Dollar Tree. You'll need two 5-inch squares, or if you don't have 5-inch squares and you do have some scraps, you can use scraps that are 4 inches by 5 inches. You'll need some scrap batting, and those batting pieces need to be a minimum of 3 inches by 4 inches. You'll need a 5-inch squaring tool. You might also need a ruler that's a little bit longer. This is my 5-inch by 15-inch ruler. You'll need some Reynolds freezer paper. You'll need a pencil, and you're definitely going to need a Sharpie. The ultra fine point Sharpie is the best for this project. You might need a sandpaper board if you don't have the Reynolds freezer paper. If you don't have a sandpaper board or don't know what one is, watch for a future video to come. I'll show you exactly how to make them. They're super easy. You'll need a washable school glue. This is the Disappearing Purple by Elmer's. You'll need some scissors that you don't typically use for fabrics because you are going to be cutting through paper. And you might even need a rotary cutter that you use for non-fabric, so for other things other than fabric. Now, if you're sewing this by hand, you're going to need some thread. You can use bold quilting thread. It's a very thick thread. You could use the 6-strand embroidery floss if that's what you have. Or if you have the DMC cotton pearl, you can use that as well. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first step that we're going to do is we're going to make our template. Okay, now if all you have is a cracker box or a cereal box, that's fine. You just need to make a template of both of these pieces. So the easiest way to do that is just to cut out these shapes. Just a rough cut is fine. And you're going to flip this over, and you're going to take your glue stick and you're going to glue the entire back of this. Okay? Then you're going to go ahead and stick this to your cardboard. Now you're going to go ahead and cut it out. And there you have it. And you don't have to label these because they're already labeled for you. It's kind of a bonus. Now, if you want to make a template that's going to last just a little bit longer, you can go ahead and use your flexible cutting mats, okay? And all you're going to do for this one is you're just going to lay down your flexible cutting mat. I've just got a piece of one here. And you're going to tape this to your pattern page. And that's just so that it won't move as you're tracing, okay? And you're literally going to just trace over these shapes. I use a Sharpie for this. Now remember, on these flexible cutting mats, there's a shiny side and a dull side to these plastic mats. You want the dull side up. Shiny side is towards the paper. It's easier for the ink to transfer onto the plastic when you're drawing onto the dull side of it. When you're done drawing your shapes, you also want to make sure that you mark the pattern name on the shape as well. And you'll go ahead and cut these out with your non-fabric scissors. Now, as a bonus tip, when you're done making your templates, if you have a hole punch and a little key ring here, it's super easy to keep these all in place by just punching a hole in the shapes and keeping them on your key ring. There you go. Now, once you have your templates already made, now you have to set up and get prepared your freezer paper for your fabrics. So what you're going to do is you're just going to cut off like a 5-inch piece, a strip of the freezer paper, and then you're going to take your 5-inch squaring tool and you're going to go ahead and use your non-fabric rotary cutter, and you're going to cut out as many 5-inch squares as you need. You'll need 1 piece of freezer paper for every 5-inch square of fabric. Okay, next you're going to want to prepare your fabrics. Okay, so you're going to want to iron them and make sure there's no wrinkles in there. They're nice and flat. Then you're going to want to take your freezer paper and you're going to look and see where the shiny side is. And you're going to have the shiny side up and then the pretty side of the fabric up. So that shiny side of the freezer paper is going onto the back of the fabric, and you're going to iron that on. You just hold that iron just for a few seconds here, and that plastic that's on the freezer paper will just adhere to the fabric, just like that. Okay, now that we have our freezer paper on the back of our fabrics, now it's time to cut out our shapes. Now, if you want to do some fussy cutting, you can definitely use it from the front side. You can see right through this plastic template, and you can draw around your shape to get your line that you're going to cut on. This paper will keep the fabric from moving underneath your pen. If you don't have any freezer paper and you still want to do something like this, what you can do is you can use a sandpaper board. It's exactly as it says. It's just a piece of 1200 grit sandpaper that I just have it on the back of a pizza box. You're just going to put your fabric down on the sandpaper, and then you're going to put your shape down on top of that. If you need to do some fussy cutting, you can do this from the top. If you don't need to do any fussy cutting, you can do it from the back side. And then you just trace around your shape, and the sandpaper will keep the fabric from moving. You can see there. It doesn't move underneath a pen or a pencil very easily. Okay, you can draw on that and it'll be just fine. Now I've got another great option for you. You can also take your batting shape and cut out another piece of fabric and put that on top of a bigger piece of fabric. What I did is I just used my brother and I used a fancy stitch and I went all the way around so that that raw edge will not fray, and it's all encased, and then I have this shape. Still have it on the freezer paper, but now what I can do is take my other shape and put that right over the top, center that, and then I can draw around that. Now we're just going to take our non-fabric scissors, because we're cutting through paper here, and we're going to cut out all of our shapes. Once that's done, you're just going to peel off the freezer paper. It doesn't leave a sticky residue. There we go. Okay, now it's time to prepare our batting. So we're going to take our little batting scraps here, and we're going to take our batting template, and we're just going to set that right on top of our batting here. Okay, just like that. You can see how tight this is. We're not wasting a lot. And I'm going to take my Sharpie, and I can't just draw around the shape because the batting is fuzzy and it will kind of grab at it. So this is what I do instead. I take my Sharpie and I literally just make dots right on the edge of the shape all the way around it. Just make dots just like that. And then we'll go ahead and cut this out. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, post a comment in the comment section below, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a single step in future videos. Love what you see? Don't forget to join me live on Twitch for interactive tutorials and real-time fun, Monday through Wednesday. You'll find my channel link in the description below. Okay, so now it's time to put our little pin keeper together. So you're going to grab your 2 pieces of fabric and your little batting, and you are going to take your glue stick and you're going to twist onto the batting. You're going to twist some glue in a couple of spots, just like that. You're going to take one of your shapes, turn it to the wrong side of the fabric, and you're going to put glue side down right on top of that. You're just going to eyeball this and put it right in the center, just like that. You're going to take your glue stick again, and you're going to twist some glue onto this side. Okay? And then you're going to take your next shape, wrong side of the fabric toward the glue, and set that one down, just like that. Okay? I'm going to take a couple of pins, and I'm just going to put some pins in a couple of different places here, just so that I know it stays together. Now we're ready to do some sewing. So if you're going to do your sewing by hand, this is what you're going to do. You're going to grab whatever thread that you'd like to use and a large-eyed sewing needle. And you're going to make sure that you can go all the way around this heart with lots of extra to spare, because we're going to be having some tails down below here. Okay, so I've got lots of room to go around this heart. Go ahead, thread your needle. And again, make sure, based on the size of your thread, make sure that you've got a needle that has an eye that's large enough to accommodate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in between the sandwich here. Okay, and I'm going to come out about 1/4 of an inch from the edge here. And I'm going to leave a pretty long tail. And I'm just going to use a running stitch here. And this running stitch is going to be a little less than 1/4 of an inch long, these stitches. And the spacing is going to be about the same as the stitch length. And I'm just going to go all the way around, making sure that it stays nice and flat as I go. If you can only do one stitch at a time, so be it. Just enjoy the process. Now, as I'm stitching here, I'm making sure that my stitches are on the outside of the batting. Okay, so if I was to peek in here, I can't see any batting at all. I'm just stitching right along the edge so that I'm hiding my batting. I make sure that it's still nice and flat. Now, when I've gone all the way around at my very last stitch here, I'm going to go through the back to the back, like that. And then I'm going to take this last one here, and I'm going to finish off my last stitch in the back by only going through the one layer and back into the middle of the sandwich. Okay? So now I've got both tails in the sandwich. I'm going to go ahead and tie this in a double knot. Not too tight to where it bunches, but tight enough that it's inside the sandwich. Okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and cut those tails pretty short, about 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch long. Take my glue stick, and I'm going to open up that end, and I'm going to put a bunch of glue on my knot, and then I'm going to put that point together. Okay, so now that knot is not only glued, but it's encased. Okay, now it's all done. Now I'm going to take a look, and if there's any edges that aren't matched up real nice, or if it's fraying, I'm just going to go ahead and trim all that off. Just clean it up. Looks great. It's all done, ready to use. Okay, now if you're going to use your machine to stitch these together, you can either use a straight stitch or you can use some kind of a fancy stitch if you'd like. But what you're going to do is you're going to look at your heart here, and you're going to start on one of these long runs, okay? It's always easier to start with your machine on a straight line instead of a curve, okay? So I am just going to set my machine up with the stitch that I want, and I am going to use the edge of my shape as my guide, and away I go. And then once this is done, I'm just going to take a little pair of scissors here, and I'm just going to trim off any edges that aren't matched perfectly here. And then you're done. Okay, I've got a fun option for you. You can take these and turn them into ornaments. Let me show you how. Before you put your sandwich together, what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle and your thread, and you're going to thread this onto the batting. So you're just going to take this and you're going to go in the batting and back out. So I've only taken a stitch about 1/8 of an inch long. Take it off your needle. You're going to tie this at the ends, however long you want it to be. Now remember, it's going to extend out a little bit further than you think, so make it a little bit longer if you need to. Okay? And then you're just going to take this and you're going to put the knot to the center of the batting. Okay? So now you just have this loop here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your glue and you're going to twist some spots onto the batting. You're going to turn this around and you're going to center it onto your fabric. Make sure that loop is up at the top there. Okay? And you're going to go ahead and do the same exact process. Make your sandwich and then stitch all the way around by either machine or by hand. As you can see, you can end up with an awful lot of them very, very quickly. These go together so quick and so easy. Now I want to show you also, this stitching looks lovely all by itself. If you wanted to do some machine stitching with your fancy stitches, that's fine too. It's very cute that way as well. So you don't necessarily have to do it by hand. Okay, you can do this by machine, not a problem. Now, what if your machine only does straight stitching? And you notice that when you do the straight stitching, it really doesn't pop at all. Well, if you have paint pens, what you can do is you can embellish, and it looks wonderful. Stitch the straight stitch with your machine, and then afterward, go ahead and paint whatever you'd like to do. You can write names with your paints. You can write dates. If you want to make ornaments that way, it works out great. You can even make name tags for special parties. If you don't have any paint pens and you'd still like to embellish, use some extra embroidery. This turned out lovely. Same with this. You can even make them so that they're reversible with 2 different fabrics. You don't have to use the same fabrics for both sides. Well, I sure hope you've enjoyed today's extra bonus pattern day, and I hope you give it a try yourself. Like I said, they make really great gifts or stocking stuffers. Well, I want to thank all of you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Happy quilting. Bye, everyone.